Hello, my name is Abe, and today we're going to be taking a look at Vampire Survivors. This is a game that I never really originally intended to do a Let's Look At of, but enough people asked me about it that I decided I would take a look at it. Shouldn't take long because the gameplay is rather simple, but we'll take a look at it anyways. What is Vampire Survivors? Well, from the Steam store page, it's $2.99, and from the description, mow down thousands of night creatures and survive until dawn. Vampire Survivors is a gothic horror casual game with rogue-lite elements, where your choices can allow you to quickly snowball against the hundreds of monsters that get thrown at you. Vampire Survivors is a arcadey, old-school action rogue-lite filled with randomly, well, it's not randomly generated equipment, but you get random equipment during the run, and you are being constantly swarmed. It's a bullet hell swarm game, if that could even be a genre. There will be, it's not kidding, hundreds of enemies thrown at us, and we have to try to kill them all before they kill us. Let's just jump into the game, and we'll talk about the gameplay as we start. There are multiple characters, lots of different equipment that you can unlock, different stages and whatnot, but this is a essentially brand new save file, so we're just going to start as the basic guy, Antonio Belpasse, who gains 10% more damage every 10 levels. In-game, I think, is where your levels are, but I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, because we're level 1. We start in Vampire Survivors with the whip. That's what our character starts with. And the only thing that we have control over as a player is mobility, movement. Literally everything in this game happens autonomously without control from the player. You just move. So all of these abilities that we get, the things that we can unlock, the things that we can upgrade, are all automatic. The whip firing one more projectile, that'll fire a whip in front of us and behind us, because currently it only fires in front of us. And it happens on a timer. Santa Water generates damaging zones, that'll just happen randomly. And the axe, high damage, high area scaling will just happen randomly. What should we take? I don't know, let's take Santa Water, generate damaging zones. So I can move, I can turn around before this whip goes off. There's Santa Water at play right there. I don't think it got any kills, so highly effective. And this is the gameplay of Vampire Survivors. Don't get hit there. There's not much that Santa Water's trash. Maybe it'll get better at a higher level upgrade. There's not much that the player does. There's not a lot that the player has control over. You just move around, all of your abilities activate on their own, and all you have to do is just dodge and pick up the experience tokens on the ground. When you level up, you get this confetti candy falling from the ceiling, indicating that you have a level up. I know that when you open up a treasure chest, it kind of has like a loot box X. Ask, what are you gonna get? Ding, 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 ding. Which I've talked to a lot of people about Vampire Survivors. It's one of the things that people really like about the game, is that opening up a chest, getting a level feels satisfying. Why don't we upgrade Santa Water? Let's see if we can actually make this thing any good, because right now it doesn't seem any good, but maybe that's just because there's not a lot of enemies on the screen, and quite possibly when you get more things on the screen, it'll be a little bit better, but for now, we'll just have to try to dodge on our own. Enemies scale. You can see now that there are more enemies, including I think an elite enemy with the border around them. Enemies scale on a factor of time, so the faster we can kill the enemies, the more loot we can pick up and the stronger we can become. Now, as I'm running away from these enemies, because I can't really kill them too well with the whip, I'm not really getting these upgrade gems on the ground, unfortunately. We gotta go back and pick them up now. Which probably ties into one of the complaints I have about Vampire Survivors, is that if we're talking about skill, sure, in Vampire Survivors, there are ways in which anybody could win a run, or the best players in the game could win a run. Spinach armor raises damage by 10% or fires another projectile. Let's fire another projectile with this whip. But for Vampire Survivors, there's not a lot of player agency over what really happens. The player is in control of movement, but not of the abilities, and there's nothing really that the player can do to help their abilities except reposition themselves. But because, we got a chest out of this one. So here's the chest opening. Coins shower the world. We get a beautiful little bit of music that plays, and we get a Santa water upgrade and 57 coins. Base damage up, base effect lasts longer. We got another level up immediately. Sure, why don't we get another Santa water? And maybe now we can actually start getting some like freaking crowd control going on here, because we're getting a little bit overwhelmed at times. I don't want to get hit by those vampire bats. There's a lot of bats on the ground, but that's there are, you know, the game wasn't lying when it said hundreds of enemies. There are a lot of enemies in this game that want to try to murder you. I don't know why. I am also I'm Antonio Belpasse. What's my story in the game? I don't know. Fires quickly in the face direction, high damage, high area scaling, raises damage by 10%. Give me the axe. I don't know how good any of the upgrades are, if there's like a game meta or anything like that. I just pick what sounds good. But Vampire Survivors, it's a weird game where the enemies in this game scale based off a factor of time, but the player does not scale on a factor of time. The player scales based off of how quickly the player can actually kill the enemies. As a result, because this game has meta progression, I should point that out. The coins in the top right corner under our level, that's meta currency, and we can upgrade our character after this run. Our upgrades are things like more damage, more speed, more rate of fire, whatnot. Those upgrades are persistent and they'll last forever across all characters that we ever play as. Because there's that upgrade mechanic, it does feel a little bit grindy, at least early on in the game, because I know that no matter what I do, I'm probably not gonna be able to win a run of Vampire Survivors until I grind enough cash to be able to outscale the enemies. If you think about it, if the enemies are scaling based off of a factor of time, they're constantly getting stronger. If we're killing the enemies too slowly, we're getting weaker in comparison. We have to break through that line of scaling that the enemies have and kill them fast enough to out-level them, and that probably requires upgrades. Like, if we had a damage upgrade, our whip could kill an enemy in one shot instead of two. We're not killing the skeletons with our whip right now. That's gonna slow us down a little bit. So it does feel a little bit grindy, at least to start with. Let's upgrade the let's upgrade the Santa water, make it the best Santa water it can possibly be. So at least personally, that's what it feels like when I'm playing Vampire Survivors, that success is kind of outside of my control. I'm still gonna try, of course, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just have to unlock enough coins over the course of runs to be able to upgrade ourselves in order to survive, which is a little bit different than something like Isaac or Gungeon or even Hades. You know, in those games, if you have the skill, you can certainly use that to win a run, or you could take your meta currency and then make future runs easier. In Hades, you're buffing up your character. In Isaac or Gungeon, you're just unlocking new items. But in Vampire Survivors, it feels like mathematically the game is against me until I get enough coins to upgrade my character to have faster movement in particular, but more damage too. So what do we get? A whip, an axe, and a holy water upgrade. So we got 3 upgrades from one chest here. Should be pretty good. There's also a, I don't know what that is, a bar of soap on the ground? No clue. Let's upgrade the whip. Yeah, level 4, base damage up and base area of effect up. Oh, okay, well, this is something I can actually control for once. The first ability I've ever seen, even though it's probably temporary. Something I can control. Reduce damage, health, or whip. Let's go for the whip. Let's keep leveling it up. But yeah, Vampire Survivors, it's extremely simple. You literally only move. I've only pressed WASD and then spacebar to select. So that just shows you the simplicity of the controls, which is I suppose a point in its favor, but it's one of those games where for me, I wish that there was more under my control, because, and we'll go for the axe upgrade. I guess we'll just try to get everything as high of level as we can as we collect that wall chicken there. Clearly, you know, Castlevania-esque inspired with things like sprites. But the gameplay is just real damn simple. And I just wonder if this is too simple to really hold my own attention span for that long. You know, truly, what variants are you gonna get in your runs other than with like equipment that you find? Well, you do unlock new equipment as you progress. I guess you unlock new characters and levels, but the gameplay ultimately remains the same. It doesn't matter what character you're playing as, the gameplay is you run away from the enemies and get hemmed in by some carnivorous piranha plants. Sure, Santa water, let's go. We're actually getting like a decent amount of Santa water on the field now, which is pretty good. There is a horrible mantis here. It makes me a little bit scared. And these enemies are very freaking tanky, let me just tell you that. I would very much love to kill this, oh, okay, we are freed. I would very much love to be able to kill this, this horrible mantis who's gonna try to kill me. Really, those axes are not really doing all that much damage, but I guess they pierce through enemies, which is, I guess, why they have a little bit of a advantage over something else. But I need to kill that mantis, which usually just means I stand still for a little bit and things will eventually die, I hope. Now I gotta go get that damn chest. And again, this, like right now, this is immediately where I would say, okay, I wish I had a little bit more movement speed. All right, we got one more upgrade. We'll roll the loot box and see what we get. A whip upgrade. Seems like it only gives you upgrades for things that you already have, and we have 3 pieces of equipment, so we're kind of trying to, I guess, level this up as quickly as possible, huh? But yeah, I see the, upgrade the axe. I see the simplicity, the brilliance of the simplicity in a game like this, but I just don't know if it's something that I would particularly play a lot of. Especially if runs end up kind of like feeling the same after a while, because I imagine at some point you'll learn what's good. You'll learn like the best pieces of equipment to take. Maybe they're unlocked to start with, maybe not. What the heck is this? It wiped everything on the screen. I will accept it and then very slowly walk around and try to pick up all the gems before they, well, they don't disappear, but before the enemies get here. Got a lot of things to still kill. A perpetual never-ending horde of dudes. Is that a level up? Is that a level up? One of these is gonna be a level up. Whip or axe? Base damage up or fires another projectile? I guess fire another projectile seems better. Oh, run! They're coming! Oh God, it's the freaking... Okay, we actually got out of that one. The freaking vampire bats. There's actually a lot of vampire bats trying to kill me. I can't say I'm particularly pleased by having this many vampire bats try to murder me. Oh, incoming. I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed here just because of the quantity of enemies, and I've got to start backtracking to pick up the experience that we've been dropping. And we have to get in there and actually pick up the experience, because if you're not picking up the experience, you are just getting further and further behind. If you're not picking up experience, the enemies are gaining experience every second. Although you seem to only really see big changes every like 1 minute. Like, what the heck is this thing that just appeared? And okay, look, there's a lot of freaking zombies here all of a sudden. Time to kill them. Oh, we can't move past the trees. Just noticing that. But these axes, I mean, they are like one-shotting things, which is pretty good. I'm gonna assume that the Santa water is doing a good job. Raises damage by 10% spinach. You know what, why not? If we can get to a point where like something like the whip can one-shot an enemy, that'll be very beneficial for us. And in fact, we might even be there right now, which is extremely good. You know, if we had leveled up our character and we had, you know, plus damage unlocked by spending these coins on it, we could have in theory gotten to a point, that's 100 coins, where we would have already been one-shotting these enemies with the whip, and then we would have had an easier time, we would have been able to level up a little bit faster, we would have been able to outscale the enemies. I don't know, just personally, I kind of just wish that if there were meta unlocks, that the meta unlocks would give you new things as opposed to stats, because the stats, they kind of feel like cheating, don't they? Like, sure, you can buy stat upgrades, but that's just making all your runs a lot easier. There's also a stopwatch item I'm just noticing in the bottom right corner there, but we'll get that in a second. So we have another level of the whip. Base damage up by 5. It doesn't seem like much, but anything that gets us to, you know, one-shotting of enemies, I'll appreciate. Time is still going while everything's paused. Gotta go pick up all this loot. Well, whatever this wave is with the big vampire bats, at least there's fewer enemies, which results in me being able to actually walk around and pick up all of the experience on the ground. Anyways, I'm kind of going back and forth between talking about this run and talking about the game in general, but like, I get the draw of a game like Vampire Survivors. It's very simple, which is not a bad thing, it's just a thing. You know, it has simple gameplay mechanics that you can wrap your head around. What do you have to do on a run? You walk around, you kill the enemies, you get the loot, you become as strong as you possibly can get. Kind of feel like I need this, ugh, even though it hurt to get. Everything is not dying, by the way. Kind of wish it would die. Okay, careful, careful. It's getting a little tight. Maybe we should actually try to like get in here and kill enemies with the damn whip instead of just trying to stall out and die. Get out. I need the Santa water to get in there. That's the thing that's got to actually kill these enemies. Spinach, Hollow Heart Axe, base damage up by 20. Okay, that's probably worth it. Get in there. There is a treasure chest in there we can hopefully try to get to. Okay, why are there 100 zombies holding axes? And by axes I mean spears and halberds and whatnot. We're getting a little swarmed, gotta run. Oh, get out! Look at this guy saying that there's no skill involved and he's beautifully and effortlessly trying to weave his way through zombie skeletons. We gotta start backtracking though. Oh God, if we don't backtrack, we're not picking up any of the cash that's on the ground, and there's also a freaking chest over there which we gotta pick up, because if we don't get the chest, we're not getting a free upgrade. So, we'll try to work our way down. Unfortunately, the whip hits kind of above me, which makes it a little hard to aim while traveling downwards. But we're getting there. I think the enemies do kind of like wrap on the screen a little bit. Like if an enemy goes off the left side of the screen, they'll go on from the right side of the screen. Passes through more enemies or base area up. I guess base area up would be really nice because we're getting very, very much swarmed. I guess base piercing up would also help in that regard. I'm seeing the Santa water though. It's doing a good job of killing things. On occasion, watch out for the freaking tree. I'm just trying to get up there to that damn chest. I hope that the experience doesn't disappear, because that would be annoying. I have no idea what's going on. This is where you get that good old loot box feeling. What the hell? We got money, spinach, and 2 axe upgrades. I would prefer not the money, but I guess we got no choice. So we have passes through 2 more enemies on the axe, base damage up by 20 on the axe, and then probably like 10% damage up. So, you know what? That wasn't that bad of a set of upgrades, I think. High value axes, dealing with enemies, random ass Santa water. Why is it called Santa water? Is Santa like actually a mythical creature in this universe that exists? Oh, we're gonna freaking die. We're gonna die probably right here when this set of ghosts comes at me. So now that we have lost our first run of Vampire Survivors, you exit, you get a whole bunch of unlocks. You do get a nice indicator of what you picked up, the weapons you had, the damage that they were doing. So the axes were doing the most DPS. The Santa Water was actually second best right there. So there you know. There you go, there you know. Everything did roughly the same amount of damage, but we had the whip the longest. I get it. And now that we have some cash, we can power up and get some unlocks. Might for raw damage up, armor for taking less damage, maximum health, health regen, cooldown. Your weapons are used faster. Fires one more projectile for all weapons, which seems, you know, like what you truly want to spend your money on. Magnet, item pickup range up. Anything like with speed would probably be nice. Well, not projectile speed, but player speed would be nice, so that you could actually walk around faster and pick up the gems. But it seems like there is no speed upgrade directly. But we can get, like, you know, there is a character movement speed, max 10% move faster. It's not that much, but we'll get that. We'll get might and $275. Can we get like area up? We can get health, recovery. Everything else is too damn. No. More coins. We can invest in ourselves. There you go. And then you play another run and you keep playing. The goal of every run of Vampire Survivors is to live for, I think, 30 minutes. At that point, you do kind of hit end game. And that's it. You know, the only gameplay in Vampire Survivors is walking around, but because of all of the different enemies that you're having to fight, the hordes of enemies that you're fighting, because of the upgrades that you picked up, you just gotta wait for your abilities to deal with the enemies and try to maneuver yourself as best as you possibly can. I understand the draw of a game like Vampire Survivors. It has a very simplified gameplay experience, but with a satisfying element of feeling like you're constantly progressing in a run, getting new equipment and whatnot. We live in kind of a golden age in rogue-lite indie games, but sometimes maybe you just want a more streamlined and simplified experience, a walkathon simulator, if you will, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's bullet hell, but the enemies are the bullets as opposed to anything that they actually fire. It's more of an avoidance hell. Anyways, my name is Abe, and this has been a look at Vampire Survivors. The game is available on Steam for $3. A link will be below in the video description. If you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, support the channel with any of the links, support the channel at the variety of links below in the video description, and I hope to see you here again for the next look at.